Well, hi, this is the main message for May the 10th, and there's a supplementary message with a little bit of more unpacking and a bit of background if you want to watch or listen to that afterwards. Thank you to Prosy for bringing us our reading today. Prosy is from the Luafu congregation of the Reformed Presbyterian Church of Uganda, and Prosy is currently studying theology in McGill University, Montreal, Canada. And we're looking forward, Prosy, to you stopping by this way on your way back to Uganda in about a year's time, and you'll spend some time with us, we hope and pray. Thank you for bringing us the reading. Two parables from Jesus, one about a guy who comes across treasure by accident, and one about a guy who's on a quest for treasure. Both find it, and both discover they've got something worth everything else. And Jesus promises a treasure that is indestructible. And the other reading came from 2 Corinthians chapter 4, in which Paul speaks of treasure in a clay jar. And we'll come to those images a little bit more as we share now, and also in the supplementary video if you choose to go to that as well. Coronavirus is a storm. It's brought fear, destruction, death, sickness. It's brought all kinds of negative things. But storms do something else. They stir up sediment, they blow away dust, they reveal what's underneath. And we've seen a certain amount of that, I think, in the sort of community heroes and stuff, where we discover there's actually a lot of good stuff in our communities. There's a lot of good stuff in people that is only waiting for the right storm, as it were, to reveal it. One of the things that the coronavirus storm is doing, I think, is it's stirring the sediments and clearing the sediments away, the myths about human life that we've been buying for years and generations probably. Myths about what human life is for and what economies are for, and so forth. So a lot of talk at the moment in the UK about the economy. All of us need an economy. We need it personally. Our families need to be part of an economy. Countries do. The world does. One of the myths is that economy is in the world to allow you to accumulate if you're one of the people who gets to do that, to acquire as much as you possibly can at cost to everybody else or most others, to centralize power in a few and take it away from many. And that's not what an economy is for at all. Economy is for sharing in fair ways and creative ways the resources that we have and the gifts and abilities that we have, the services we can offer one another, the goods we can make one another, etc. And it's a way of doing that, at least it should be. And that Easter Day lockdown that ended with the discovery that Jesus was alive is a case in point, because they'd started the day in fear, they ended it in joy, and they started it locked away, trying to avoid contact with the world. They ended it anticipating maximum contact with the world. And they formed now a new community and with a new economy based on sharing and on giving away, on generosity, on grace, on compassion, and all the things that economy should be based on. And what about life? Being a human being on planet Earth? Is it really just about trying to avoid sickness and death until you get sick and die? Is it just sort of an attempt to put off the inevitable for as long as possible? No, it's here so that you can flourish in it, so that others can flourish. It is here for the discovery of treasure. Jesus had a habit. I wish I could learn it. When he met a new person, he would find a way through the layers of personality and the layers of pretense and the layers of outward appearance, the layers of status, the layers of bad behavior, etc., in search of a treasure within each person, the image of God. He'd go looking for it. And it was like a guy with a metal detector he was. He could pinpoint it and go straight through it. He didn't waste time digging around. He knew exactly where to dig to find the image of God in a person. And if he came across hypocrisy, self-righteousness, then he'd take a pickaxe to it. He wasn't shy of doing it. But when he came across those who were life-wearied, full of grief, bruised, heavy laden, he would dig gently. Reminds me more of an archaeologist who is uncovering stuff hidden by years and years of sediment, and is just using a trowel to gradually clear the main stuff away, and then takes up a paintbrush and very gently brushes off and brushes away until the treasure is revealed. Jesus was gentle, or he was confrontational, depending on the situation. And I admire that. Paul was in this pickle with the church at Corinth, and he's writing to them a letter, and he's trying to teach his friends a lesson. And he uses the image of treasure in a clay jar. The truth is that his friends are no longer sure they want to be his friends. In fact, they've kind of demoted him. They sort of fired him as their friend, as their mentor, as their shepherd, in a sense, as their teacher and preacher. He's trying to win them back again, and he's trying to insist upon some points that they need to know. It's kind of a delicate thing going on. And he's facing a problem because of his own past and how they might throw that at him. He's facing a problem that all preachers and teachers of the gospel face, which is, how do you share a wonderful treasure and teach people about the message of Jesus without giving them cause to imagine that you think you're something they're not, that you're somehow better informed, cleverer, holier, or something? Paul is trying to avoid coming across as arrogant whilst asserting some home truths they need to hear. So he draws this comparison with the clay jar. It's a great comparison. He starts by saying, God commanded light to come into existence as part of the universe of time and space. And that same massively creative, unbelievably authoritatively powerful God who can command things to exist and processes to occur, is the same one who now looks for treasure in us and commands his light to ignite something within the human soul. He says, no, it's nothing less than that. And he says, I'm trying to share that with you. That's my purpose. So I've got this incredible message. It's absolute treasure. It's eternal treasure. It's power treasure. It's treasure on steroids. But it's held in my message, my preaching and my teaching. So it's held in a human life, a clay jar. So the jar's not it. No, the jar's just a dusty old something. It's really sort of dust compacted with water, made into a shape by hand, and then hardened so it can contain something. The treasure isn't the jar. The treasure's inside. I'm just the jar. And the treasure is the message of Jesus and the ways of God, called the kingdom of heaven. The message of Jesus, the ways of God, called the kingdom of heaven, speaks to the image of God inside you, inside me, inside our communities, inside our countries, inside humanity. However buried and whatever covers it, God is calling to it and urging us to uncover it. And he's offering us new jewels, as it were, to pile into our clay jars. There's more. It's not just what you've already got inside. I've got more for you yet. And furthermore, this treasure for these jars of clay, these biological beings, it's the indestructible bit. Coronavirus is exposing the fact that we are just dust. We'll fall apart, crack up, break, decay. It'll end for us one day, somehow, as these dust-made beings. But the treasure inside, the treasure it's all about, that which is the true soul of your very being, and the treasure of the kingdoms of heaven, they are the stuff of resurrection, of new life, and of eternity. Whatever coronavirus can do to us, bear this in mind. There's a treasure, and it's indestructible. It's very desirable. Don't be fooled by appearances. It's the treasure inside. That's absolutely everything. That's what to go for. You need to look after the jar as well, of course you do, for as long as it's needed. But there is that within which is pure treasure and can never fade or spoil or be stolen or rust out or anything like that. It has the eternity of God within it. God bless you as you think upon these things if you want to, and do stay safe and help keep others safe and seek the treasure of Jesus' kingdom this week. Amen.